Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs. And today I am going to talk about regular expressions. Um, first, I want to point out that that is the absolute ultimate oxymoron. There is nothing regular about regular expressions. This is something that was created back in the early Unix days in a language called Perl, and then has been migrated into just about every language ever written. It is truly a geek hacker creation. Um, it will never ask you if you are sure about anything. It will just do what you tell it. Um, so make sure that you test your regular expression stuff very carefully. But the catch and the reason why it's gone to every language is that it is absolutely one of the most powerful languages or expressions that you could ever use. And many things support regular expressions. Or RegEx is another way that people refer to this. And this is going to take at least a couple of videos to properly address. And I want um, to to tell you that you really should learn regular expressions. It is a steep brick wall learning curve. You pick it up slowly. It takes quite a while and you'll forget it faster than you can imagine, but it is worthwhile because of its incredible power and the tools that you have at your disposal that can use it. Okay. One of the things I have a second um, editor. Okay, I use Atom, Atom. It's free. It's at Code Complete. They've released it. They're not doing updates. It's just sitting out there free for you to download and use. And uh, its power, its beauty is that you can open a folder and Atom will identify the folder as a project, and therefore all subfolders and all code sheets are part of a project just by default. Have you ever had a big project in PureBasic or anything, and you're like, I know I wrote something that looked like this. I know there's a function that I wrote, and I can't find where it is. Well, open up your folder with Atom, go to File, Search Project, and put in what you think it's going to be. And you can do the search on case sensitivity, all the standard crap. And it will, in a half a second, search every single file in every single subfolder in the entire project. Okay? Whenever you can't find something in whenever I can't find something in one of my projects, and as you know, some of my projects get to be pretty big. So I mean, take the war game. I think I'm up to about 50 code sheets on that one. God knows how many procedures are spread across it. That's why I break everything up into folders to try to help me identify and find things. But heck, even I lose things all the time. Of course, my memory ain't what it used to be, but Atom comes in then. Well, Atom's got another capability that's worth noting. Its search function can use regular expressions. And so you can actually search and replace strings throughout your entire project in a single command. Okay? I mean, just let's say that every message box title you had, you wanted to say, I don't know, my super project, but you misspelled project, but then you copied it without seeing it or noticing it throughout your entire project. So now you got this misspelled word that's going to pop up in every user's face for the entire life of this project. My God, if you were going to go through PureBasic and search every single code sheet that your program references and try to change physically every single one of those, it's crazy. Well, in steps Atom. You can go out there and in one command say, hey, find this wrong spelling, change it to this. Whole project, go, done. I mean, it's literally about that fast. Okay. So let's back up a little bit and let's say, what is regular expressions? Regular expressions is a text selection querying thing. It's about the best way I can tell you. It's very, very, very cryptic. It is case sensitive. PureBasic is not case sensitive. RegEx is case sensitive, so be careful. Okay, if you start the symbol of a caret, the shifted 6 means starts with. That means line starts with, not word starts with. Okay, difference of a definition. A $sign would appear at the end of your regular expression. Means ends with, and that means line ends with. I believe /W is word, so you can actually break up with words. And so let's start looking at some of the other ways to scope a single character. Begins with, so this square bracket, little a dash little z means a single character beginning from it with the letter A through Z. Okay, doesn't include uppercase, doesn't include numbers. It's just one character. And then if you wanted to include uppercase, it's A to Z and then capital A to capital Z. And then if you want to include numbers, then it's 0 to 9. Now remember, you're trying to scope individual letters and characters in a search string, basically. So here's our first example. Okay, so we're going to create a regular expression 0, and that's the standard PureBasic thing. And our expression is square bracket, A to Z, lowercase, the letter B, and then A to Z. So it's looking for 3 letters in a row. It has nothing to say about words. It has nothing to say about anything. So if we were down here, and let's come into some of this, and let's take this one for instance. If I wanted to say, this guy right here is, okay, so see that A, B, and Z? He's going to get picked up because we're looking only at the lowercase A to Z, a hard-coded B, lowercase, and then any letter A to Z. These 3 letters will be found. Okay, this one will not be found. This one will be found. The uppercase guys, they're all out. The numerics are all out. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, and this is one way to do this. There are numerous, and you can actually extract this. You can change those that match. You can do all kinds of cool things. But first, you got to learn how to write your expression. So this is searching any letter, A to Z, lowercase. The second letter is B. and then an exact match to A to Z as a third letter. So if I just run this one, and I'm going to go ahead and put an end here. All right. So I'm going to run just that one thing. And it's going to go ahead and execute and list off for us. Here's our example. This is our query, I guess, the question, what it is. So if we go across here, he found ABC. Now, other things that you can pull back, it'll pull back the where in that line did it find it? Where did it start and how big it was? Okay. So it actually gives you the data you need to do a mid if you want in your code. So you can search for, the sort of uh, sequence of letters or numbers or what have you. And then you can come back and do a mid right against it because you can pull back where it began, that this would be letter character 2 for 3. Let's see, what else? You can do all kinds of cool things. Now, if we come out here farther, we have the ABZ that he found right there. So he's returning, in this example, I'm only returning the results of what he found. What were the exact matches that he found? Now, let's expand this search a little bit more. And let's say we want to find A to Z or capital A to Z, then the letter B, then A to Z 0 to 9. So we're not going to look for uppercase letters in the second half, and we're not looking for numbers in the first half. So I'm trying to point out that there's very fine lines being drawn, and it's relatively cryptic to understand what it is we're doing. So if I run that, we'll get our first query, and now we get numerous more answers from that same set of data, okay? Now, we can go farther. Obviously, you can go farther. So what we've done here is I'm just changing things up so you can see what the differences are. If we go to A to Z with lowercase and uppercase and keep that lowercase. And then down here, what's the next one? Oh, the next one has a starts with. Okay, and that changes our data. All right, so let's go look at all of these that are pulling the 3-digit stuff. And so we have the capitals and then the A to Z's. So that's all pretty straightforward. Might not be clear, but that's regular expressions. Like I said, there's nothing regular about regular expressions. Okay, so this one's going to be cool. Example 4. He says it starts with A to Z, and then we have the capital A to Z, B, and then A to Z lowercase. Okay, and let's make sure I got that there. Okay, now, if this starts with a space, as it does up here in all of these other examples, okay, then number 4 is going to return exactly nothing. Okay, number 4 returns exactly nothing because this whole starts with that caret there is what that's called, and that's a shifted 6. It's saying the string I'm start playing with must begin with this criteria. All right, so if I get rid of the space, then the only thing he can find is the A to Z. Let me go ahead and get rid of these others. All right, so now we will only have and can only have in this test one answer to number 4, and that's the ABC, because we use the caret. All right, now you can also test for the end of line. The end of line test is this $sign, okay, on the end of our query. So he's going to be looking for 0 to 9, a B, and then A to Z, 0 to 9. And it's got to be at the very, very end. So if you're looking at our string, there is no trailing space. We're not trimming this. So it's got to be the last 3 bytes of the line must be that. And is this still? No, we got one more. All right, so hold on. And we will come in here and put an end there. So now what we're after, I believe, is, what is that, 6? I don't know. We'll see, 5 or 6. 5. Okay, so that returns our 1B3. Okay, so we can get rid of you. We can get rid of you. And let's come down here to our, I think this is, oh, we do have one more after this. That's true. This was one I kind of created for testing. Okay, because I turned this into an app, which is what we're going to get to in a minute. So this is looking for any alphanumeric, a star. Now notice that we did a parentheses around our square brackets, okay? And that's grouping that together. And the star says any number of these characters, anything that matches, okay? And then we have the letter B, and then we have the same any alphanumeric any number of times. So what we have here is what you're going to see is this guy can be found because he's got all of this junk in front of him. It won't matter. And any of these that has multiple letters on either side of the ABC. This is should return all the letters, then the B, and then all the letters. So it should return each of the words. Now, because we're not including spaces, it has to look at only the alphanumerics. We're not including single quotes. That one's going to be, he wouldn't know what to do with that single quote. He doesn't know what to do with commas, to be honest with you, or spaces. So let's go ahead and see what this one's going to return with making just that small little tweak to our regular expression. And this is 6. Okay, so notice he returned the entire word. Okay, he returned all the whatever came before and then whatever came after, but does not include space. Now, what if you wanted to include the space? Well, that's simple as pie. You can come in here and add a space, and then presto, you've now included spaces on the ending side. Okay, I don't think it's going to change. Yeah, see, now he went even farther until he ran into a character I don't understand, which is going to be that comma. So he actually, oh no, it was the apostrophe. See that? Because we're saying any number of characters, a B, and then anything. So the only place it could stop is at something he doesn't understand, which is that. So very small nuanced differences make a tremendous delta change to what gets returned and what gets identified. Now, this is getting long. I don't want to go too much farther on this first video here. Let's go ahead and look at 7. Now, in 7, and then I'm going to show you the program that I wrote. So we're going to go ahead, and I built this test string to be include file, a double quote, a file, and then a double quote. All right. So the query, the regular expression I wrote is that the line has to begin with capital X, INC, open parenthesis, no, sorry, capital X, I, and C. And then this is a regular expression guy grouping that says, then I want the asterisk is saying any number of what's inside here. What's inside here is just a decimal point. That translates to say anything. Okay? That's single quotes, double quotes, commas. I mean, it means anything. Tabs, because this guy sees the difference between a space and a tab even. Okay, guys? So this is very, very, very specific. So what I was trying to do was return the entire line of the include file. Okay, so we can run a test that says, okay, see, we got the entire include file, quotes and all, underscores, the whole 9 yards. Now, that's a preamble for what I'm going to show you next. So, but first, the next thing I want to show y'all is I built this kind of down and dirty today. And so what we can do here, this is kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab my code sheet that is the regular expression tester guy. And this is going to be my test data. All right. So this is my test data. All right. And I want to write a regular expression that says, okay, give me let's say if we have anything star and then I have pound gadget. Okay. And then we want to also include whatever comes after it. All right. So if I did this, we can then see down here, we have everything. Ooh, look at that. We can do. Ooh, all right, that's cool. Let's look at that data and say, all right, let's find all the sentences that say anything, and let's come into this, and we want clear gadget, clear gadget, and then we can say, yeah, clear gadget items, and that's all I want. So he's just going to give me up to this. All right. So if I execute that, we get these guys back. So we have 4 of those in there. If we wanted to change those, we could then, if this was source inside our app, we could actually look for these items and then parse this up into the 3 words, clear gadget items, and just change it to clear items if you want, cut gadget out. You can do all kinds of stuff. So you know how you have languages where the IDE color codes certain words? Do you know how that's done? That's done through regular expressions. So what you do is you go through and you do a word walker, parse all the lines by spaces, and then you do a regex on doing that. So you make sure you only have letters and numbers, okay? Or you might want to just include letters. Depends on your data. You might want to exclude the commas and that kind of junk. You're after just the lettering. So you could just probably use A to Z, and then you go down and say, okay, sort those, get rid of the duplicates, and then come back in and take that list and say, if the word is, you know, any sort of, or ignore case, you're looking for the, if you're thinking in terms of SQL, you would want to uppercase select as a word, from, where, order by, all of the SQL commands. What you want to do is turn those into uppercase and maybe make them blue, and then apply that back to the text that you were initially looking at, and presto, you have your colorized entry of stuff that the people are putting in. Stencilla, you can actually monitor the typing and grab a word, the last word typed every time they hit the space to separate their words. You can grab the previous word, apply it to the list of, if it's on the list to be capitalized, and then replace it, colorize it, and capitalize it, and let him keep typing. You can do stuff like that, which is pretty slick. So RegEx is a tremendous tool, and you will at some point in your life need to know that it exists, and you're going to want to know how to use it. This is kind of just an introductory sort of introduction to regular expressions. I do want to do a more advanced version and get into some of those look aheads and grab the code. I'm going to have to see how PureBasic manages some of that. So I'll probably be modifying that regex tester, or maybe I'll build a second one that handles stuff like that. And then I will make another video in advanced regular expressions. But to look at the code, how this works is, I mean, it's just a standard form with a couple editor gadgets. When you click the button execute, he comes in and clears the results guy. We then come in and do a build the regular expression from the get gadget text that you've done. And then I'm iterating through each line of the source data, getting the line itself. And then kind of like you do the file system, they have an examine regular expressions. You come in, and while you have an expression match, I'm adding the expression match to the bottom grid. So what we're going to do is modify this, and let's come over to this. We have, crap. All right, come down here. And let's go to regular expression index. Okay, so we can come down here and get the position and the length of the match. And then in here, if somebody has, you want to modify text, you can actually put on the screen, what do you want to replace this match with? And then actually replace it as you go through. So this is really important stuff. See how you have these named groups? So this is what I want to show you how to use, is these named groups and then replacing and matching stuff. But I wanted to get your feet wet with the first video of trying to explain what are regular expressions and why do you have them and why should you care about them, because they make, I mean, honest to God, that sentence really doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're a Perl programmer, and then it makes every amount of sense in the world. And so that's how all of this works. And as always, thanks for watching.